Aries, welcome to your July forecast. So this is actually going from June 21st to July 20th. We are covering Cancer passage. So this is going to be actually 4-part reading because it's monthlies, you know, it's kind of biggie. So first we are going to do kind of like 2 decks, kind of general kind of tarot overview. Then we are going to go into Lenormand. Then we are going to go into Gypsy. I'm going to do Grand Tableau on both of them, so it's going to be awesome. And then I'm going to pull the card for advice. So we have, I'm trying to integrate all your feedback that I had so far. I have already pre-shuffled cards, so I can start. So let's see. Whoa, deception. Who had it? Who had this deception? I think Pisces. Anyhow, it says someone is wearing a false self mask in this relationship. We have to figure out from the reading who is deceiving who. It could be self-deception as well. Sometimes we don't express ourselves, but I highly doubt you guys, you know how to actually make your point. So we are going to see what is going on there. And there we go, we have 2 6s. So it looks like you're going back to something, revisiting something, like 6 of Swords and 6 of Pentacles. When I see 6 of Swords, it's generally moving on card. So when it's in this position, it means that maybe we, in our thoughts, are still visiting something that has happened. And maybe we are going back to thinking when certain things were in balance. So this is kind of like really interesting, especially because when I was shuffling, 4 of Wands jumped out, which kind of is a card of going to the next stage. So I really want to see if the card is going to reappear. So what do we have? It is safe for you to love, healing family issues, attraction, religious factors. Boy, this is coming out everywhere. Retreat, heart-to-heart conversations, finances and career, soulmate, very soon, and keep an open mind. All right, so let me double this up. So we have the Emperor and the Empress, which are your cards, Aries. And this kind of like tells me that you're a little bit down, you're a little bit out of control, you're giving up on something or somebody. Kind of like it was a battle, I think. Maybe you were either fighting for someone or fighting in general, and things just really didn't work out. This is kind of really interesting because here I see that you came up as a winner. It was something from the past. When I see this card, religious factors, your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. This is also, to me, a marriage card. It is like a card when I see it as 2 people who kind of decide to have a common path. Of course, it comes in religion because you're pre-agreeing to certain sets of rules and sort of like you're adhering to those principles. But it can also mean marriage, where you're both agreeing to, you know, love and cherish each other in good and in bad. But when I see the victory card next to it, it could be that somebody was, I mean, this is a card of being on top as well. And this is also a card of demanding that other people submit themselves to you, which sometimes can be Aries ailment, but not necessarily like, I mean, that has to be the case. Only thing that actually worries me about this combination is that in a relationship there shouldn't be any kind of victories, right? Because then just all of a sudden this becomes a game versus that energy that we need. Yeah, so that's probably what happened. You know, there was some kind of debate, and somebody came up as a winner, and kind of like it was a state where nobody did nothing. Like 7 of Pentacles, even though people say 9 of Pentacles is like Independence card, it is actually 7 of Pentacles that is Independence card. 7s are talking about independence. It's also talking about instability, and it's talking, this is basically to me the card that I call crossroads. So after what happened, and maybe this also could mean that you have been down, you kind of like lift yourself up and said, that's it, I'm dusting myself off, I have to kind of keep going and recognize who I am, and kind of like honoring yourself and kind of wondering in which direction to go. So it could have been too much of inactivity, and it could have been just like some kind of like big event, kind of like when the Tower comes, when it comes reversed, it's a little bit better, because the falling down, it's a little bit kind of like cushion, kind of like it is a disaster that you kind of could prevent, but you didn't. So when this happens is like when karma says you spent too much time thinking what to do instead of actually doing it. So also this means sometimes that you guys are being immobilized by some kind of tragic event and something that happened to you, kind of crossroads, but really not knowing where to go. And this could have happened, or it could be happening any moment now, and it's going to be regarding something that you felt was already repaired, where you felt it was done and acknowledged. So root of your reading for July is attraction. You attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully, but then you have like this 10 of Pentacles reversed, right? So check it out. This is the card that actually, look, it's representing a family, right? Look at this. Look, everybody's gathered here. Like they have the home, they have, you know, everybody around them. It's a basically card of ancestry, right? Everybody's getting together, like you're kind of getting your act together. But in your case, this is reversed, and I would say you may be ignoring your heritage. Maybe you're going in a direction because you had religious factors here, which could be also heritage. It could be again those rules that you lived by, and maybe there is some attraction somewhere that is kind of taking you away from known. Yeah, it looks like there is a new love that you really want to go into that direction and setting new goals. And this is probably music to your ears, Aries. This is probably the card that I would call Aries, but just like the other 3s and 4s, because this is kind of, look at this, where do I go? What is my next kind of like destination? It's kind of planning, and it could have been that you met someone who maybe you have left somebody to be with this person, or maybe that person left somebody, and could be even leaving family unit, that to actually explore this new love. And Ace of Chalices is like a really new beginning, and where do I go from there? But there is like something in the story that is kind of hesitancy, kind of like in some respect, because on one hand it says it is safe for you to love and open your heart to give and receive the highest energy of all, and yet we have Fool reversed, right? So Fool is a card, all action but all thought no action, or action no thought, or thinking without, like, you know, acting without thinking. So I don't like this card, and yet this kind of could be the card that defines you guys, because you like to take risks, and this is definitely talking about taking risk, but like in this way, watch out not to make a foolish choice, right? Yeah, it's saying like be really careful. This might kind of be a little bit self-absorbed kind of opinion. Again, you have 9 of Pentacles, which would be a wish card, but like here it's talking about possible selfish preoccupation. So again, somebody, I really think that's probably a good word, selfish. Who is being selfish here? And Three of Cups talks about joy. Again, is another 3 that we have. So we have lots of 3s coming up. But generally, I see 3s like as a warning about somebody else interfering. But it could be that you guys are the one who are interfering because how they are coming out. Well, not in a bad way. Sort of like you want maybe somebody who could be unavailable. I think that's probably how this can be seen. And hence, you may be feeling this is foolish. And hence, you're feeling, you know, your wishes are not going to come true. And yet, you're kind of being driven. Because this 3 of Cups, it's kind of being spontaneous, right? It's something that is unexpected joy or pleasure. And it's kind of like you're feeling like when you see full, it's just like having this kind of childlike attitude where you still don't know the boundaries. Because here is like your card Aries that is coming here saying healing family issues. It says your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. And then this is basically the Emperor, which is you. It's mostly for the Aries born in April. So there was some kind of instability. There was some kind of security that has been attacked. Or it could be that maybe you spent your childhood where your parents were authoritarians, and maybe because of that you react really harshly if people even have a little kind of like tinge of orderly behavior in them, and hence you kind of shy away from it, or you become very reactive toward your partner, where maybe the partner is not really attempting to dominate you. And it's really hard to dominate Aries, right guys? So this is actually really stemming from something that happened a long time ago. So you have to backtrack and see where that actually started and think about it. Usually I find this new age, well, law of attraction, I believe, because I know it in myself that when I become negative, I kind of start to spiral down. But also, at the same time, when you focus to things, if you don't focus on your fears, they are staying there. They are not being resolved. So actually at some point you have to face your fears, literally. And yeah, maybe this sounds like a negative advice, but it kind of like evaporates. So I think this is one of those things where, this is the case. You have to figure out what is making you unstable and why. It could have been the breakup of, if some of you have issues with your parents, this is calling for communication, good communication, because here I see harsh words. Here I see some manipulation. Queen of Swords is somebody who is very resolute when is she in the upright position. She is a great communicator. She kind of knows the story and know where it ends. And this tells me like with somebody, and family could be also the family we create for ourselves. Somebody kind of got you, or you got somebody to the point that they basically go from 0 to 100 in a second, and they know how the story ends. And that really means also that we are not willing to take that maybe other person wants to change or has changed, and we just go into reactive mode, which to extent that's true. Most people do not change, and something really major has to happen. And maybe this is called for you guys to change, because it's calling you, when this card comes out, it tells me that it's calling you to evolve. And it is also calling you to preserve. Look, you have a 4 of Pentacles, which is kind of like generally neutral card. It talks about being guarded, especially guarding your finances, especially kind of like, look, Kitty's sitting on this box, and there are just 4 Pentacles in the box. Yet it is a foundation. It is something that you are aware of, right? Because look, this is a 4 and this is a 4, and both talk about stability. Both are standing on the boxes, right? One is like self-declared king, the emperor, right? And in this Emperor is not feeling that comfortable. So it's saying, look, start building yourself back up. And the best way to do it would be with already knowing what things, tried and true kind of things, what has worked, and kind of continue with that. So we are back on that kind of victory. You're kind of going back to that, something that you felt here, and it's kind of like that feeling where you need to kind of go deep inside to figure out what happened, because it was a crossroad. But here is the retreat card, which is it is time to disconnect from the world. And then it's coupled with 5 of Swords reverse, and now like we see actually again the 3 in the card. And yes, in the opposite situation, it talks somebody kind of like being completely arrogant and neglecting other needs, and again talks about the victory in a situation where maybe victory shouldn't be called. However, when this card comes reversed, it is talking about the fact that nobody really won in this situation, and maybe you are becoming kind of really cognizant of this. And yeah, it could have been you, or could have been somebody else that is unavailable, but this is generally probably talking about another partner. And actually, you know what, this thinking will help you, because now you have 2 swords and fire. So you are coming to your senses because you are feeling comfortable with both air and fire element. And this is kind of like thinking, okay, what happened? The situation has no way out. Everybody lost. Somebody here is around you that is unavailable in some shape or form. And when 8 of, and why is this not recording? Just let me stop. Oh, is it starting again? Pardon me. I don't know if you've seen the cards. When 8 of Swords come reversed, you see here is the kitty in a tree crown, like being blindfolded, really not knowing how to get down, being really afraid, not knowing what is basically happening. But when we get to this stage, then you know this kind of bushy part, it's becoming a root. And it takes maybe a little bit wiggling, thinking through it and the strategy, but it is possible to get out. So you're seeing a way out. You're thinking and going deep inside of you, like spiritual kind of process, and communication is what is going to push you forward. Because look, you have heart-to-heart conversation. So it is this communication that has to be absorbed. The communication where, hi Matrix, what come on, yes, are you Aries? I thought you were Pisces. I'm sorry, I have a visitor here. Heart-to-heart conversations, and I think this is coming in your readings for quite a while now. It says honestly discuss your feelings with each other, guys. Knave of Pentacles talks about move forward in small, tiny little steps. Tiny. So why? Because I guess you are learning about yourself. There was like some upheaval in the past, and you are learning to go to Aries 2.0 and do this smoothly. Pentacles, do that in a kind of grounded level. It's just like this card here told you, regain your stability. This is something you found, and like it's new things, so go proceed with caution. Walk away from things that are not working out. 8 of Cups says you have to figure out that, you know, certain things could actually create and give you pleasure, but maybe there is something better out there. So it is okay to go and check what is out there, or you can come back if you still feel that what you had was correct. But this is definitely talking about also not tolerating if certain people are not treating you properly. There you go. Cut out things that are not working out. Ace of Swords is, oh my gosh, this is like one of the most powerful cards in the entire deck, right? Because this is the very first card from Major Arcanas, and it talks about destiny, it talks about fate. This is basically the law of karma. And swords, when you see swords, that's why we call it double-edged sword, because it tells you, look, you have to think through it, and it is something really important that is knocking your door. And because when things are important, they also have a flip side, which means that it's dangerous as well. So this is why swords have that kind of like effect, right? It's kind of scary. It's like a policeman in the uniform, right? Where the same person with that uniform may not be scary. So this is definitely transformation that is happening. It's talking about meaningful coincidences. They're like forces beyond probably your control. They're operating in your life, and trust them. Trust them and trust your instincts, like, because you're going in this retreat and this is where you're coming out. Things will be happening with really great velocity. Swords are super fast. You guys are fire sign. You guys are moving really fast. Well, guess what? Swords are faster. If you are airplanes, this is the rocket. So expect quick results that are going to lead you to that information. But again, it goes back to learning and communicating. So again, finances and career, financial issues are a factor in your love life right now. And then you have 9 of Wands. Well, this is kind of interesting because this is the card of persistence. It's somebody who is a seasoned warrior, who has been through things in life, right? And this is like in your feeling category. So yeah, feeling injured, kind of thinking that maybe something bad is still ahead of us. But here it could be some kind of financial events that you're going to be surprised, that it might be an unpleasant surprise. You may get burned on some kind of deal this month. Yeah, everything is talking about Pentacles and Queen of Pentacles reversed. Be very careful, especially if you're purchasing. So finances are in your mind, clearly, even though you're thinking about everything. Like, look, it looks like you're rebuilding things through your own foundation. You really want to kind of create things brick by brick. It is a call for you to stabilize when you have the earth coming. So you're coming from thinking to doing. So this is a warning that don't overspend on beauty treatments, because Queen of Pentacles can be very superficial. That definitely means splurging money. But it could also mean that you felt kind of depleted, and this is kind of like self-compensation. So be very careful not to go overboard with this, because it says financial issues are a factor. So don't make this become a bigger factor, right? Environment, your environment, it says soulmate. So do you guys already have somebody that you're eyeing, or somebody showing up? And again, there is like some kind of test. Knight of Pentacles is again very much like Page of Pentacles. Where did you have it? Remember? Here. So this is the next stage. Conversations first, and then it's going to be a reveal. But like, it's a little bit stagnant. And wow. You have the Devil card and you have the World card. There is a huge connection with someone, guys. But this person is somehow on the outside, right? Because this fell in your environment area here. And so something is not proceeding for some kind of reason. And my cat is like on the wrong side. See, my little kitty. And why is it not proceeding? The Devil talks, there could be somebody else lingering in the entire situation, because you had all these threes, but when this card comes up, I'm always thinking like I'm being chained to something, either to religious factors, to something that is a tradition, to something that you feel you have to do it, right? And hence there is like this feeling, oh my gosh, I cannot move on because I'm chained. It means also that things are happening, that you are behaving a little bit out of your element, because like one cat, it becomes a dog, another one a rabbit. This is definitely a card of also warning you not to be overly kind of absorbed with material pleasures, sort of gambling, addictions, overspending. And this definitely, giving that this is connected to your soulmate, is enormous attraction, almost like really burning desire, but it's like not progressing. And this is now really great because this pent-up energy, and you guys are really famous for it. I have a brother, so I know what I'm talking about, who is Aries, right? So then it's going to the next stage. So the World is like fantastic card. It's the last card from the major arcana. It is like moving to the next stage. So job well done. Like, let's move on. So I think guys are really learning how to communicate. It is like you are going out of your way to figure out the configuration of your life. So hopes and fears, you see, you kind of like have this expectation for things to happen very soon, and certainly karma is here, and this is like really good announcement. But there is like there are still things in your life, the breeze are here, that need to be addressed very soon. So clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. But then you have the Empress reversed, right? And this is also Aries card, but like it's for those born in March more than everything. It's basically card of nourishment, it's card of motherhood, it's card of creativity, right? But then it's kind of like being stuck, right? Because you had the Emperor, you kind of like, it was reversed. So this also could actually to me indicate a couple that is not a couple that may very soon become a couple. It could also mean clinging too much to something or onto somebody. Well, there is another karma card, and this is really interesting. Wow. Remember how I started here? I start seeing like some kind of marriage, and something is ending, something new is starting, and then I kind of like saw threes as more or less your own fight with something. Now again we have a 3. Now it's again reversed. Like, where did I see it? Over there. And then we have a 3 here. Like, I mean, this is Hierophant, it's 5, but it's showing 3 in a card, as you can see, 1 topping it and 2 followers, but it's reversed. And here is the Judgment card, right? In this card, right, we are saying like something from the past has been bubbling up to the surface. So your hopes and fears are for something from the past to work out, but also this is your fear that is not going to have this nourishment quality that you're hoping for. If this were reversed, I would say you're heading to the marriage and kids, if it's, I mean, upright. But it is reversed, so there will still be things that you are either dealing with, and again, it is back and forth. Maybe there is somebody who is attached or somehow kind of linked to the situation that maybe kind of existed for a while, because when this card comes up, it tells me that the history here is involved, that there is like not somebody just met recently and now it's kind of question mark. No, this is something that kind of is again going deep. This is also religious factors, and it's just looking on the other side of the reading. So it is like really encompassing what rules you want to go by, and I think you are breaking out from those rules, or possibly breaking out from your own marriage. However, this card here, the Judgment, when it's reversed, is the rule of 3. All things come in 3s, and then also you have 3 and 3. So now clearly it's not really good news. It could be that 3 bad things will happen in a row. So just recognize that, or maybe identify them, or maybe, you know, there is something that already started to process. Oh my gosh, this is freezing again. So let's see if it's going to recover. I have to check how much of that was freezing, and my computer just warms up. So where are we heading this month? Keep an open mind, keep on top of things, but try not to win. It says your soulmate may differ from your usual types and expectations. And then you have the Temperance, and it's a card of balance. It's a card of like the stars are aligning kind of thing when it's in the upright position. When it is reversed, it talks about ingredients are missing. It's either not the right time, or it's not the right place, or it's not the right person. And it's calling here to kind of like drop the burdens and kind of like realize, you know, don't sweat the small stuff kind of a thing. So kind of figure out what is just too much to carry. Wow, that's the card that I saw. Remember I told you, look, it's coming to crown this reading. In the end, you guys are actually moving, and again, it's a 4. Very, very significant reading, Aries. You are battling yourself over somebody who may not be the, let's say, the partner available because of some reason, and you are figuring out almost if what you're doing is the right thing to do, and you're ending this with deciding to go ahead. While you're actually learning about yourself, you are becoming a different and better person. You are conquering your own devils and resisting temptation, giving in and resisting at the same time, and becoming more wholesome, and kind of like really trying to figure out, okay, is everything that I have always heard and learned correct? Is this what I want? And is this making me happy? And then you're dropping things and walking away from things that are no longer, see, walking away, dropping, keeps repeating as a theme. Okay, so I'm going to right now collect the cards and stop the tape and come back when I put the Lenormand on the table, so you don't have to spend 5 minutes watching me do that. Okay, Aries, here is your Lenormand configuration over here. So how this works, this is grand tableau, meaning like all 32 cards are on the table. So this is kind of rare to see on YouTube because it's actually really difficult to read. So now there are 2 significators only, the lady and the gentleman, and either of them can be you. So let's see. One can be your partner, right? And one can be you. So just I'm going to give you different kind of outside influences, and you have to figure out what's going on. There is like, weirdly, you guys are connecting with your partner in kind of like weird things. There is like the ship, which can indicate to me a long distance, some kind of happiness that has been prevalent, and maybe kind of commitment with this person. And yet there is a coffin. There is some kind of secrets. And stars is hope. There is like a hope looking up to this person. Oh my gosh. And then to make it difficult, more difficult, then we have the coffin knighting the cross. Well, it almost could mean like literally that there was like something buried. It could be a person, or could be that this means you need to bury the past, because there were some kind of secrets. Maybe you need to bury some kind of secrets over here, right? Because it's kind of like another thing that is really interesting here is like right next to the maid, it looks like there is some kind of reputation that is kind of like trying to keep reputation and trying to something with the children as well. And this also could mean some kind of relocation. See, reputation and loyalty and cutting possibly that love. And maybe this is what I saw in your tarot reading, like, right, that was like maybe somebody is in a committed relationship and they're trying to be loyal, but they are also going to cut it off. It's kind of strange because there is the child here, and it's something from the past connected to the child. And this must be the child of some sort, something that started because we have both stork and the child together. The lilies are talking about something coming from the past, and your partner is, it looks like you didn't want to get involved with someone because someone is kind of unavailable, and it looks like you're right, this person really has the commitment to something or somebody, but they might be cutting that commitment off because you guys in your pathway, you have a guy coming to you within a couple of months. You might actually even end up in a committed relationship, really committed. Some of you might marry because you have the bouquet, which is happiness. You have the anchor, which is like putting your anchor down with the ring, and the tower, which is not the tower from tarot. It is like, this tower means government institutions. So hey, this is where you marry, kind of civil wedding, but also can mean a church for sure. Also can mean moving to a condo building. But then also you have the heart on your path, and again you're also meeting in heart, and it's like something karmic, guys. And these are those things that we call religious. So what is here, guys, going on? Something is holding both of you back. We have this cross here. Something has to be cut off. Loyalty to something. It's going to be a communication. Look at, you have the lovebirds from something from the past. There is a mountain to basically cross for sure. There is, it's going to be really uplifting month for you, Aries. I really would like if you kind of give me your comments. Your partner could be in something financial here, right? We have the bear, and the bear is knighting the fish. And it's going to be some kind of crossroads because this person also is starting something, going in a new direction in more ways than one. It could be both in business and in love, and it's going to be a completely new direction. You guys are, looks like, revealing or trying to figure out some secrets and something, some underlying processes, right? It's, the fox generally talks about work, so I don't know if there is somebody you know from work or somebody you kind of like. It is kind of like really interesting card because fox can be positive and can be negative. I really think of work being really positive because generally it's talking clever, right? So this is like you're trying to figure out, or maybe you're being devil's advocate, like, I mean, seeing what is bothering you. Maybe you're bothering yourself because you had this deception over there, and now this is kind of like coming back to the surface, right? So, you know, when you say you're smart, right? But like, I mean, kind of like that can be a negative comment. It kind of can talk about some kind of trouble. It is like really interesting because this actually could be the end of these troubles, because when you have a coffin next to it and also have the scythe, and scythe cuts something really quickly, right? There's like not much kind of like process in it, right? So, and then also you have a dog over here, which could talk about some kind of disloyalty, that somehow kind of disloyalty has happened, but that's going to be cut off. So that's the remedy, and I think that's what we saw in tarot, that things are coming back to be made right. And that's the heart-to-heart conversation. This guy is going to be somewhere in the middle of the month, but it usually happens around the 14th of the month, but it can be as much as a couple of months here for you. So let me know. I'm going to now do the Gypsy, also Grand Tableau, which is going to be more cards, and again I'm going to click back when I put all the cards on the table. Alright guys, this is Gypsy Grand Tableau. This is really hard, so I don't think this actually is done by anybody on YouTube, so welcome to Cat Tarot. This is what I do also in my fly on the wall reading, Lenormand or Gypsy. So the very last two cards of these 52 cards are child and some kind of lies or secrets. So again, this child can mean something new. It can mean a secret child. So let's see the storylines here, because actually there are more over here, because we have actually more significators. So here we have wife reversed, and this can indicate really a married woman, or it can indicate somebody with children, or it can just indicate you, because there is like a wife with a kid and there was some kind of disaster. And then there's a widower over here on the path in between. So this is kind of like really where the things get tricky, because here's the lover reversed, here is sweetheart, and here's Lord, which generally represents a married guy. So 3 of the significators are clustered, and somehow it tells me that a few people here are related to each other, and yet there is like some situation here. Again, like we have the widower, and then we have a death and a bad surprise over here. So somebody being trapped in a commitment and marriage, it's kind of due to the kids. It's kind of like repeating what basically I've heard, and it looks like some of you guys, like, because this is one of the main significators, like they are right next to each other, so the storylines are going to be very similar, dealing with something that have been buried. And again, look at it, here you have the loyalty, somehow to something has to be renegotiated that has been buried. You have been longing for something there, for some reunion. See, with this guy, and it looks like it's an older woman, or getting wiser, getting older that is involved, right? And there's an enemy here, meaning maybe you are your own worst enemy in this. There is a doctor here, so some kind of healing has to take place. It looks like it's a process, and here he is coming next to wedding, and here are the 3 people. So it's kind of really weird. The wedding is reversed, meaning, well, he's getting out or didn't happen. And yet, you see, this is also with a thief over here and money. It was something that didn't happen that made this person very unhappy. This person could be in counseling as well. This person wants to go to the new journey, so I think this is the person you're probably addressing as kind of like belonging to some kind of family unit, but person is like feeling completely upside down, as you can see, right? It looks like that this is kind of really rare to see this, like where you see the Lord knighting the basically lover. So it could be the person from a commitment is becoming non-committed, is becoming single. And it could be as simple as becoming single because something tragic has happened. But definitely it's the ending of some kind. And the person is rebuilding, because we see they're building the house, constancy. Again, I see secrets here as well. And something on a legal level, secrets on some kind of legal level. For the committed of you, it's kind of strange because again, something stems from the past, because I don't see much of the future for the committed people other than there is some kind of child, which also kind of like is in reverse position. So it's only kind of looks like the female querents here that are in the upright position, or for those of you who kind of identify with this storyline. For the rest, kind of like things are really reversed, and you're addressing this just like that. Is that retreat here is like this, you know, doctor, here's this loyalty, like where, you know, I want to be, what do I need to bury? So it's kind of like sifting through things. That was that Ace of Swords that you had, like you really have karma at play over here, guys. Moving forward, it's good. It is slow rebuilding, but it is rebuilding. And for your partner, or for possibly some of you, it could be realizing again, that's what I thought, are you your own worst enemies? Because you are meeting in this card, and you are kind of meeting also in a reunion. Something has happened, didn't happen, it should have happened, and you kind of like are kind of still looking back, thinking about that, wondering if you made the right decision. And it is connected to maybe an old flame, because maybe it was a third-party situation and you decided to step out, but that kind of made you really, really happy. You have a fortune and love card, and with this person you were really, really good friends. So that's maybe that soulmate that we have seen there. So guys, this is kind of like really here again we have the wedding reversed, and then we have prison upright, which also talks about being stuck in a marriage, right? So somebody is being stuck on the processes or what the society wants you to do, and that kind of has to be kind of like a resolution has to be met in that kind of thing. And it looks like it's literally the way out is just like what I told you in tarot part, that is going to be small steps forward, and that's why you have constancy, which kind of like was these pentacles that you had. So Aries, for your personal reading, contact me, because that can kind of give you more information. And this is a really interesting story, and I really appreciate when you like, when you subscribe. I'm going to do advice as well, and when you share, because especially when you comment, because that's when I connect to you. I really know how this story worked, and then actually I can look in the cards and really get additional meanings, because all people know everything, right? So I'm learning all my life. So now I want to give you the advice for this period. Okay, let's see advice for Aries. This one seems to want to come out. Huh. Check it out. Karma, DNA, healing. Holy smoke, it cannot be more you know, telling than this card. So let's talk about it. What is karma? In kind of many Eastern religions, this is a Sanskrit word that implies great universal laws, cause and effect, right? So I do these karma readings because we all kind of like assign ourselves this karma. Kind of, this is not a punishment by life. This is actually the lesson that we have decided, right? We decided to learn, because this entire lifetime is for us to actually learn a certain emotion, learning how the other people feel. And when I do past lives readings, like sometimes it's kind of really significant that people pick both sides of the coin. And one life they want to be the king, another one they want to be a villain. So you kind of like see both the outlaws and the lawmaker kind of side of the coin, right? So the mistaken notion about karma is that is some kind of punishment. So remember that, right? So bad karma, no such thing, because it is far from that. In fact, in its purest form, it kind of simply asserts that our conduct in this lifetime will determine our next incarnation. So hence we are enthused to actually go through it, right? It also come to mean that our behavior and actions in this lifetime create consequences in a slightly different way of the golden rule. We not only carry our soul's karma into this lifetime, but also kind of embed this in this very complex coding of our DNA, and this is our ancestral karma. You see, we have this double helix structure over here, and this is like that DNA structure. It contains codes that have been passed down from our parents and grandparents and so on and so forth, all our ancestors. So we are the product of a long line of people basically mixing, right? So we have some of the same genetic information that comes from the DNA from the very early humans. So in this card, with these two intertwined serpents with double helixes on either side, if you can see, right? Variations of this archetypal image kind of exist in many cultures. They're both traditional and they're like also contemporary, believe it or not. And it is a graphic representation of what we really kind of have to focus when it comes to the fundamental substance of our life, that this is basically calling for a life path. And what I said, guys, this is becoming, you're becoming Aries 2.0. Karma is calling you this month to really repair your DNA. When you repair yourself and see which path you took left when you were not supposed to take left or right, you have to kind of find your path back. So even though DNA is like what you inherited from your biological parents, and it has basically physical component, this is also a soul pattern, and this comes together in the creation of you. So you're predisposed to follow what a karma dictates, right, to some extent, but you're also evolving in your consciousness, and then you expand the light of awareness. So making the choices that shift and modify this ancestral pattern is what is basically being called for here, and this is one of those times. And literally, guys, think about this reading, come back every week. Your karma is here, and each time you're going to pick up another layer, because in my readings I actually add, not, as you notice, not only linear thing, not only some kind of frou-frou thing, you get really hands-on what basically needs to be done. So this is calling for your higher self. No more lazy things, no more things that work just because they work. This is calling for your higher self, and no matter which form it takes. So this becomes a choice between destiny and fate. So guys, tell me, how are you doing this month? Love you guys. Sorry for the long reading, but it really it is really important what I've seen here. So I really can't wait to hear what you are telling me. Love you, Aries. For the private reading, please contact me via my website www.catchtarot.ca. All the best. Enjoy your month.